First Battle of the Marne, 1914. The birth of modern air reconnaissance. September 1914. Europe was descending into chaos. Only weeks earlier, the great powers of Europe had marched into war, believing the conflict would be short, glorious, and decisive. Germany unleashed the powerful Schlieffen Plan, a massive offensive designed to crush France quickly before turning east toward Russia. Millions of soldiers advanced across Belgium and northern France in one of the largest military movements the world had ever seen. At the front of this storm marched the German armies toward Paris. The French and British forces were retreating. Roads overflowed with exhausted soldiers, refugees, artillery, horses, and supply wagons. Entire villages emptied in panic as the thunder of guns echoed across the countryside. It appeared that Germany was on the verge of victory. But above the armies, in the skies over France, a new weapon of war was quietly changing history: the airplane. Only 11 years had passed since the Wright brothers first flew at Kitty Hawk. Aircraft were fragile wooden machines covered in canvas, powered by unreliable engines and viewed by many generals as little more than experimental curiosities. Yet in September 1914, these primitive aircraft would help save France. The First Battle of the Marne became the first conflict in history where airplanes were used for reconnaissance on a large scale, marking the birth of modern aerial warfare. As the German advance swept through Belgium and into France, commanders struggled with a problem as old as warfare itself: information. Armies moved rapidly across huge distances. Cavalry scouts often failed to keep pace. Communication lines broke down. Dust, smoke, and confusion hid enemy movements. For military leaders, understanding where the enemy truly was became nearly impossible. Aircraft changed that. French and British pilots began flying reconnaissance missions over German positions, observing troop columns, railways, artillery placements, and supply movements from the sky. Observers carried notebooks, maps, and sometimes cameras, recording what they saw below. These flights were dangerous. Pilots flew in open cockpits exposed to wind, rain, and enemy fire. Engines frequently failed. Navigation from the air was primitive. Most aircraft had no weapons at all, yet they provided something revolutionary: a bird's-eye view of the battlefield. French aviators soon discovered something alarming and crucial. General Alexander von Kluck's German First Army, advancing toward Paris, had turned southeast instead of encircling the city from the west as expected. In doing so, a dangerous gap opened between the German First and Second Armies. From the ground, this weakness was difficult to detect.